Hello YouTube, welcome back to Bear Cave Ranch. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about water. This is managing our resources. So as we started trying to answer the question of how can you afford to do this, the thing we kind of realized or came up with is that we're not managing money as much as we are managing resources. And for us, one of those is water. So we'll go into kind of a prepper theme too. You need to have water storage, water backup. We have mentioned that in videos before. But it's just a really good idea at all times. So we not only manage how much we have, we make sure we have multiple ways to get that water. Now, if you've seen previous videos, if not, feel free to go back and watch them. But we drive way off over that way to get water. Up until this week, we've been paying for that water at 10 cents a gallon. So now we can get it for free, but I do have to drive a little bit farther, like an extra mile and a half or so, over bumpy roads. So it does still cost something, but it doesn't cost cash. So now buying the water is a backup. So some things we want to do is minimize loss. And some of this you can apply even living in the city, because when we started looking, we wanted to know how much water we were using when we moved out here. And it's almost impossible to tell because the water bill comes in units instead of gallons. And it's not a true conversion. A unit is so many like cubic acres of water. And in any case, we finally figured out kind of a formula, and turns out we were using like over 8,000 gallons a month. Obviously that wouldn't be doable out here. But of course we have the, toilets flushing, showers running, dishwasher, washing machines, like all that stuff that actually uses way more water than is needed. So you can scale back. But here's some things. We have animals we have to keep watered. Here's our chickens. There's actually 3 new ones and then 22 baby chicks as well. But one thing these chickens always did, and we had these living in the city as well, all of them, isn't that right? They knock their water over constantly. So a simple solution for us, actually, so we can get that, it's just dug down a few inches into the dirt. In 2 months, they have not spilled the water. So we can keep it full, they drink it, we dump it out, sometimes to clean it or switch out that coffee can, but they would spill that, and now it's hot. I mean, we're getting 100-degree days out here in the desert. They need that water, so that's a step we took to minimize our loss. Now let's go over here, and you may notice that we have our big barrels, and that one over there is hooked into the trailer, and these are full. We also have these. We actually use those an awful lot, and that's actually for catching rainwater. On occasion we do get rain and that fills up. And what we do with that, number one, it's a secondary source, so if something goes wrong with our power, the pump's not going to work for the RV. So we still have access to water. We also have a hand pump to get water out of the barrels. So, but we use these if we have to fill up, the chicken's water, sometimes the dogs. The cat just drinks out of the dog's water. I fill up my water bottles from that, even when I make coffee in the morning. It's just sometimes easier than messing with the sink. But we keep that bucket under there. We have plants to water. We're starting to get plants that need to be watered. And why waste even a few drops? Because that drop in the bucket adds up. So we planted some potatoes.
Do we wash our hands sometimes?
Oh, that's right, we do. We use this to wash our hands.
So you can do the full, or I I do something like that. So it's just enough. Get
Yeah.
your hands wet, soap it up,
Yep.
rinse it. That way it's just a little bit, and we make sure we use soap over here that is safe for plants and animals so that we can reuse the water
Yep.
to water the plants or animals.
Yep, we do that. And that's another thing. So our laundry soap, our dish soap, I do want to start recycling the gray water from the trailer. We're not doing it now. This is obviously an old trailer, and the gray tank I feel like wasn't really maintained and cleaned regularly. So I want to bypass the gray tank and do some other type of system. Until then, though, I mean, that is kind of some of our gray water from washing hands, just overflow of stuff, whatever. Sometimes it's just hot and I want to throw some water on to cool off, and I can do that and I don't feel terrible because most of it's going back into that bucket and we use it on the plants and stuff. We also just recently got one of these dog waterers. I always kind of thought they were dumb, but it allows us to track how much water they're drinking. That's really the main reason, and they don't spill it like they did the bowls and stuff that we had. We're going to come in. Trailer's a mess, of course, but again, this is an old trailer, so be mindful of this. Here in the bathroom, the shower head, now that has a pause feature. We can just turn it and it pauses, but it still drips. That bucket is actually there to catch those drips. And when you turn the shower off, there's always a little bit that runs out. So that bucket catches those. That it can be used again for watering plants. It can be used for rinsing out hair or all kinds of stuff. Excuse me, love. That's one of our challenges of living in an RV. We have to move around each other quite a bit. So there are some things that are just really key. Water, like you have to have water to live. No more than 3 days without water, and out here in the desert when it's hot, even worse. It's actually nice and cool right now. We had this kind of cloud cover roll in and it's giving us good shade, but basically that allows us to water plants, animals. You don't need to get to a point, and this would happen again for the preppers out there. You know, a lot of people have water storage, which is good. I hope you do. But you have to change the way that you use water too. So we drink a lot of water. We probably each drink well over a gallon every day, just of actual water, plus, you know, coffee, things like that, tea. Here she is rinsing out a pan, and that's going to get used to water something. And the water from the pasta that got drained out, it's not going to get used to water something. Okay, I'm a liar.
What? You're coming over here.
I was just telling YouTube you were going to use that to water something.
Yeah, I am.
The sagebrush.
Remember, we can't put too much water over there.
That's
because
true.
then the plants die.
And we already watered the other stuff. Okay. In any case, we try to reuse as much as we can.
I watered something.
Good job. And now the dog's going to lick it.
Get all the flavor sauce.
There's a tree that we have planted. Takes water every day. So, anyway, those are good ways. We have upped. We have 2 more. Because where that water barrel is, or those 2 water barrels, there's 2 poles sticking up there. That's actually going to be a large goat pen and a bigger chicken pen over here. And we're going to have those water barrels sitting at each one, so they just kind of have their own water. We don't have to pull from our house water, even though it all comes from the same place. But so just good ways to manage things. Same thing in our last video we did about finances. It's just about not being wasteful and looking at needs versus wants. We still do our laundry regularly. We still take showers. We still do everything like everyone else. What I don't do is take a 30-minute shower. I don't let the water run while I'm rinsing off or while I'm soaping up. You know, both of us. We don't wash our hands and let all that go down the sink. We catch that and use it for watering the plants, things like that. Just make sure you use soap that is safe. I have gotten like gasoline or something on my hands. I will not let that go into that bucket. We just don't want to be unsafe for the plants, but those cases are pretty rare. And that's it. Just manage your resources properly, and you can do that in the city and probably save a good amount of money on your bills. And so again, some of this stuff we put into practice before moving so that we were well practiced and prepared. Okay, we'll do one more view. Oh, there's a shovel there. We're going to build a root cellar too. I want everyone out there, have a great rest of your day. Share, like, subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Patreon if you want, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.